what is the nigger factory? In the United States, it has only been a little over 150 years since the end of the most brutal slavery the world has ever seen. That 150 years represents the life expectancy of an average human plus their grown child. We talk about it as if it's ancient history, and the truth is, slavery in the gist of time was just an eye blink away. Tom Burrell, the author of Brainwashed, says, in the United States, blacks have been branded, physically and mentally, from the very beginning. That branding was even perpetuated long after slavery. The intensely torturous enslavement and indoctrination transformed into the powerful, pernicious, all-pervasive, mass media-driven brainwashing that still goes on today.
This particular chart, which summarizes IQ scores that Professor Richard Lynn alluded to in his talk, based on his review, which was published in 1991. Whites average about 100. Black Americans average about 85.
Pseudo-scientific facts, taught now and in the past.
Thomas Jefferson's words from the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. Jefferson didn't mean any of this. What did Jefferson really mean? He thought slavery was an evil thing, but he also thought that free blacks in a white society was even worse.
These views were not only in the United States, but instead as part of a global system of domination and power relations. And to maintain this power, they created the nigger factory.
Hey, yo, my life is like Roots, it's a true story. It's too gory for them televised fables on cable. I'm a runaway slave watching the North Star. Shackles on my forearms.
One of the reasons why I stopped doing hip-hop up until just recently was because when Get Like Me was the #1 song in America, I got a chance to travel internationally, and I got to see the way that America was depicting black men. And for the most part, it was rap videos, and at that time, that's when reality TV shows had just started. And like, we looked really bad, and I was a real big part of that, and I just couldn't do it no more. Like, no matter how much money people paid me at that time, I just couldn't continue to send black people's images to hell.
I gotta say something to the gangster rappers. I know a lot of y'all support me, y'all text me, y'all show me love, but I got to say something to y'all Negroes. And I ain't talking to all of you, but most of you. 12, 15, 16 albums of gangsterism, selling dope, sexually exploiting black women, going to jail, worshiping European materialism, got our kids strung out on cars. You Negroes need to get your act together. Facts! I'm tired of turning on the damn TV and I see Negroes worshiping chains, worshiping cars. Every rap song, the same shit. Money, women, kill somebody, go to jail, smoke some weed, worship materialism. Every album is the same. It might be a different rapper, different clique, different city, different flow, different beat, but the content is the same.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the advertising and the marketing aimed directly at teenagers and even kids as young as 9 years old. It's like the old English 40 ounce of music aimed directly at black and brown people, teaching behavior and worldview, justifying, promoting, and normalizing criminal behavior, which reaffirms the 400-year marketing campaign waged against black people since the beginning of slavery. And through stereotypes, it continues to separate brown and black people from the world by glorifying behaviors that can lead them to prison or competitively marginalized. This is the nigger factory.
Public Enemy is one of the most successful hip-hop groups of all time. Chuck is consistently ranked as one of the top MCs and lyricists of all time.
The whole game and trick is that they could get time on their side and get a couple of generations who are really combative about it to get old and pass on and trick the new generations and throw toys at them to hold them off. And one of the biggest crimes is the MTV networks and the Booty and Thug network of BET that's hijacked hip-hop and rap music. And their whole games is to extend teenage years to 35. This has been the principle since 1990. Let's turn teenagers from 17 to 35. And when they wake up out of the fog at 36 years old, they feel that, you know, with 3 or 4 kids, they're paralyzed to move left or right. And so they got to go with the flow.
Historical facts show some things were created by racists centuries ago to redefine black people. And a lot of it, as they say in marketing, has been sticky. Meanwhile, other things that have purposely been created to redefine blacks positively don't stick. But why?
One of the greatest propaganda campaigns of all time was the masterful marketing of the myth of black inferiority to justify slavery within a democracy. Ingenious. Tom Burrell, marketing veteran.
When Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, announcing the self-evident truth that all men are created equal, at that very time of writing that, he owned some 175 slaves. That's how contradictory race relations started.
He didn't think blacks were very intelligent either. As he put it, quote, "Their existence appears to participate more of sensation than reflection."
This pop culture image of blacks as lower than, beast or brutes, sluts, unable to think in higher vibrations and intelligence, justified the racial inequalities that people saw, not only in white people though, but also in blacks, and every other race that were brainwashed by the factory, also from Jefferson.
He wanted blacks deported and separated from whites so that they would be, and I quote, "beyond the reach of mixture," the American Colonization Society. At the inaugural meeting of the society, Henry Clay explained its purpose, quote, "to rid our country of a useless and pernicious, if not dangerous, portion of the population." Some of the most famous early Americans were not just members of the Colonization Society, they were officers. Besides Madison, there were Andrew Jackson, Daniel Webster, Stephen Douglas, William Seward, Francis Scott Key, Winfield Scott, and John Marshall.
These names were high-ranking officials in the United States. My brother went to John Marshall High School. There's likely street names with these names on it in your town. From scientists to presidents, to lay people of all races, the true humanity of black people were consistently challenged, subhuman, a fraction of a human being.
But Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator, didn't he believe in racial equality? No. During the Lincoln-Douglas debates, he said this, "I am not, nor ever have been, in favor of making voters or jurors out of Negroes. There is a physical difference between the white and black races which I believe will forever forbid the two races living together on terms of social and political equality."
This was going on worldwide. Europeans had to deal with it since the first slave in Portugal, and in America since the first slaves in Jamestown, 1619. How can they justify this huge divide between the freedom-loving rhetoric that they espoused, mixed with this total and thorough addiction to free slave labor, knowing that it would make them the most powerful forces in the world? So, the factory began. As said before, scientists, biologists, psychologists, marketing maestros started a brand. They perfected that brand over 400 years to the present day, where it has been generationally normalized to where even most black and brown people would have it no other way. They know no other way. They've become conditioned to accept the image that was started by racists, to where they look at it as our thing, our culture, our niggas. Of course, there's slews of people who are activists, woke, culturally proud, but the factory keeps on producing these same images at such a consistent rate that the woke among us, if they don't have the same consistency nor machinery, they can't make consciousness permanent or stick. The law of Sir Isaac Newton states that for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. That would be where we need to be. So far, it's not the case. All of the countermeasures, noble and admirable, at this point are no match for the 400-year marketing campaign of the nigga. So even occasional afros and progressive breakthroughs on TV, movies, and songs are unfortunately not enough to the constant exposure of twisted images, violent and dehumanizing themes from the factory. So, please join me for the next episode as I go a lot deeper and further expose this factory. Why I chose to use the word nigga, the deliberate and the indeliberate players in the factory, and just how high up this factory goes. I think it could get heated, and hit dogs may holler. In the meantime, push the subscribe button, share this video with everybody you know, and get ready for the next compelling episode of The Nigga Factory. I'm Speech. I love you. Peace and strength.